Hey there, continuing my look back at the MCU, we are at Ant-Man as we make our way up to Avengers Doomsday. And Ant-Man is a weird one because it's sort of wedged between two phenomenal films with Age of Ultron and Civil War. You can watch my Age of Ultron review up here. The one thing I forgot to mention in that is how incredible the score is. That's my favorite of any Avengers score except for maybe Endgame. And I really like what Brian Tyler and Danny Elfman did with Alan Silvestri's score while also providing new stuff. Great. But this is an Ant-Man review, so let's talk about the Ant-Man score. Christoph Beck first was introduced to me on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He scored the second, third, and fourth seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the first season of Angel, and then he came in to do some significant episodes in season 5 and 6. And I fell in love with his work, so much so that I would constantly look up his IMDb, even when I was like 15 years old, and if he was attached to a project, I would make sure that I would watch it and seek it out. He does great work, and his Ant-Man theme is so simple. Dun 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 dun. Super simple, not much to that at all, yet it's an earworm, it gets stuck in your head, and it has like the heroic horns that come in shortly after that. That theme has kind of been in my head for 10 years at this point. But Christoph Beck does great things. It's one of the few genuinely great things about this movie, which is on the whole serviceably fine. I know some people really like it, and I think a lot of that has to do with the energy and attitude that Paul Rudd brings to this and some truly clever ideas that still linger in here from Edgar Wright's screenplay. I would move mountains to read that original screenplay that Edgar Wright had written, because there is so much going on with interesting and intricate ideas, and I liked his little tech demo that leaked from Comic-Con, a scene of which is in the movie in part of like a dude having a gun pointed at the camera, and then Ant-Man runs and then starts running along the edge of the barrel and then kicks him. The whole film was apparently going to have a lot of great intricate moments, as nobody but Edgar Wright I think could truly do. So I think we are in a lesser world for not having Edgar Wright's Ant-Man in it. Yet Peyton Reed brings a certain energy to the film that makes it a little more comedic, and Paul Rudd I really like. He is a good actor, and seeing him kind of bumble his way through a superhero movie, learning to truly become one, is somewhat inspiring. He has this everyman quality about him, even though he's like very good looking, that is relatable, and he is the reason that Ant-Man works at all. The biggest thing working against Ant-Man is that it's Iron Man. The plot of the villain, the structure of the film it's just Iron Man, except they did it linearly instead of starting with sort of the midpoint, taking you back to how did we get here, and then the Ant-Man of it all. It's just Iron Man. The villain is pretty uncompelling. He's performed well, and he looks really cool when he's Yellow Jacket flying about. But it's just so low stakes after coming off of something so high stakes that it's also just like, it's an appetizer rather than a dessert is what it feels, and yet we're kind of being treated with this dessert. This isn't the only time the MCU would do something like this. You will see this again with Spider-Man Far From Home coming right after Endgame, and it's sometimes pretty hard to watch. This one I think is very hard to watch. As I say, I know this film has its fans, and if you're able to look past it's just Iron Man, you might really get a kick out of it. But even my daughter didn't really respond well to this. She was like, do we have to watch this one at the midpoint? And I'm like, yes, it becomes important for not only the sequel or the next Captain America movie, but it's also very important to the world building of where the final Avengers films go. And she was like, all right. And we got to the end and she was like, yay, can I see the trailer to the next MCU property we're watching, which was Captain America Civil War. I showed her the trailer and she was like, when can we start? And she's like, also, why is it called Avengers? Or why is it called Captain America? This is clearly an Avengers movie. And I was like, you sound like everybody on the internet. But anyway, so yeah, Ant-Man, I struggle with. Of the 3 films that came out in 2015 that were essentially just repackagings of other films in their own intellectual property, being Ant-Man to Iron Man, Jurassic World to Jurassic Park, and The Force Awakens to A New Hope. I do think this one is the best one, and I think a lot of that has to do with the Paul Rudd of it all and some really creative action set pieces at the end. And the fact that the characters overall in this film feel uniquely different in a positive way, not uniquely different in the what are we doing here, guys, way that Jurassic World was, or the exact same, let's just gender bend or race bend of Force Awakens. You can see my review for Force Awakens up here. I do not love that film. Though I do think that's the review where I was like, fuck it, I put it better to words, and I just am literally reading you a script that I wrote from like 15 or 10 years ago. It's not a great review. This one is turning out to be kind of similar to that. It's a messy film because it's not a lot to say. It is just Iron Man. Paul Rudd is great. We could have had a great Edgar Wright. The Marvel overlords wouldn't allow Edgar Wright to make his own intellectual film, so he decided to willingly walk away from the product. We're in a worse world for it. They gave that screenplay to Peyton Reed and Paul Rudd, who repurposed and repolished it to give you this film, which is unfortunate because I would have liked to have seen Edgar Wright's. What did you think of this film in the comment area down below? My daughter, she didn't like it. She's like, it's not a bad movie, it's the worst MCU movie. And I'm like, this is the worst one! And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, worse than the Thor movies? Because she hasn't been a huge fan of those. And she was like, no. And I was like, interesting. So yeah, that baffled me. Anyway, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comment areas down below. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's lower tier, but relatively mid. I'd still give it a recommendation. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.